Hi, and welcome to Fly Fishing for Smallmouth Bass with Ripple Guide Service. We mainly fish smallmouth through May through October, and I believe that the smallmouth bass was made for a fly fisherman. They eat flies well, they fight like no other fish for their size, and man are they scrappy in moving water. The two main rivers that we fish for smallies are the St. Joe River, which is a large sprawling river. We mainly fish this from either a drift boat or a jet sled. And then the Yellow River. The Yellow River is a much smaller river that we use a specially designed John boat on, or we wade. The Yellow River is also a very nice pike river. But this video is about the smallmouth, and during the summer months around here, the smallmouth is the king. Early season has us throwing white bait fish imitations, but once the crayfish get real active, the smallmouth really turn on to the crayfish. And therefore our flies change, and we're throwing a lot of crayfish patterns during the summer, like that leaper lizard in the previous slide and this one here, or this one that's called a smallmouth bugger. Once the water temperature hits 72 degrees, we're normally throwing white poppers, and then in August we get a great Efron hatch. Yes, those are all mayflies in that picture. For those folks that want to chase big fish during the summer, during our smallmouth trips, we also do a lot of gar fishing with rope flies like this one. Most of our fishing on the St. Joe is either done from a drift boat or a jet sled like this, and we're normally fishing while we're moving. A lot of the St. Joes you'll see in this video is lined with rock walls, and these rock walls really harbor a lot of bait fish and crayfish and insects. So a lot of our fishing is done in less than 3 feet of water. We're casting right up against these rock walls and fishing the flies back off towards the boat. The majority of these fish come within the first 5 or 6 strips, as did this one. This is a great smallmouth. We're normally fishing 5-weight rods with floating lines. Unless it's early season and we're throwing big streamers, then we're throwing a Scientific Angler Streamer Express sinking tip line, which is a great streamer line if you haven't fished it yet. It's a really nice fish that we watch here ease into the net. Now this next video is a popper caught fish, and it's in August. During August we do a lot of sight fishing. Actually, we find the fish from an anchored position, then we kind of ease the boat down to them, and that's what we did for this fish here. This fish was caught in less than 2.5 feet of water. And some fish really crash a popper. Some fish just suck it in like a trout would with a small mayfly, and that's what that fish did there. It just sucked it in. We also have a pretty good terrestrial fishing opportunity in August and September when the terrestrials are out. We'll throw a lot of foam hoppers and almost really cutthroat flies. We also get a pretty good ant fly in September, which is always a lot of fun. This was a really nice popper caught fish from last summer. I always say that the St. Joe is polluted with smallmouth, and in this way pollution can be a good thing. A bad day of fishing on the St. Joe for smallmouth is 30 fish, and that's no guide's tale. I had one day this past summer that we didn't catch 30 fish, and that was with a grandfather who brought his little boy along, and his grandson really did most of the fishing while the grandfather sat back and enjoyed the day. Doubles are very common, pretty much an everyday occurrence on the St. Joe. Our average fish is between 12 and 14 inches on this stretch of the river, but the numbers are outrageous, and we'd hardly ever see another person on this stretch of river either, which is always nice. Plenty of fish, a nice relaxing warm day of catching fish, and not seeing another person makes for a pretty good day if you ask me. Smallmouth bass, they just don't stop fighting. I think pound for pound, inch for inch, by far the best fighting fish in fresh water. And another nice smallie in the boat. That's about an average fish on that stretch of river. Here we are fishing crayfish imitations again with a fella from Connecticut. You see that line just tighten up. That's what we're looking for during our smallmouth trips. Fishing a crayfish imitation right off the bank. Again, it's in about 3 feet of water where that fish ate. Big fish almost always come off the bank like that. They eat and then you hook them and they come right out to the boat. They like that deep water. They don't like to be in that shallow stuff once they get stung. That's how you can tell when it's a big fish. You set the hook and it comes straight out to the boat and sits under the boat. Smallmouth like to jump, that's for sure. They may not hit the 3-4 foot heights that the steelhead will sometimes, but they still like to jump. I really think during the summer months around here, although we do have some really nice trout fishing, but once July and August hit and the water temp gets hot, fishing for these monster smallmouth like this one I think is the way to go. It's great fun, the weather's nice, big fish, and lots of them. If you've got a little kid or a beginner that you want to get involved in the sport of fly fishing, I don't think there's a better option than smallmouth bass during the summer months. The weather is nice, the fish are plentiful, the techniques are easy, and once hooked, these fish fight better than any fish in freshwater. Hey, thank you for checking out the video. As always, if you have any questions or comments, let me know.